Howdy. So today's Ask Allison is what data is actually helpful in helping you grow your practice. I find data to be really helpful, really soothing sometimes. And I like to share some of the things that are actually helpful. I'm going to share for you an example of the kind of data that's not helpful from my own history. When my husband and I were planning our wedding over 10 years ago, I was trying to decide which day in early to mid-October we wanted to get married. And so I went through the Farmer's Almanac. You guys know the Farmer's Almanac? It's like it just kind of tells you all the things that went on with weather and things like that. I went through the Farmer's Almanac. I had a spreadsheet, like of course I did, and wrote down the past 10 years of several different dates. Now that's useless data, right? Like I knew it was useless when I was doing it, but it helped calm some of the anxiety in me. It helped me feel like, because I felt like it was a really important decision because we were going to get married outside, it helped soothe me that it had only rained one time in 10 years on October 4th. So let's choose that. Useless data only work to soothe my own anxiety. I would rather you have useful data as you're doing this. So first I'll say thanks to TherapyNotes for sponsoring Ask Allison. I would make sure that you know the percentage of people that call who make a first appointment, particularly those of you who are private pay, because that number is going to be pretty different than those of you who take most insurance. I would look at the average number of sessions that you have in a week, as well as the average amount you make per session. So if you're on different insurance panels or if you're private pay plus a sliding scale, sometimes we're really off about that number. We make an assumption that it's higher or lower than it actually is. It's good to just know the truth. I would know the average number of sessions until completion of therapy. So that might include or exclude outliers. So it might be that somebody sees you 4 times and moves away, or somebody ghosts you, or whatever. We're getting a clear idea of what's typical and how often those outliers occur. What else? Where your callers get your name. That's another really important thing. So who are these referral sources that are bringing people in? Often people will say, I saw you online, or I saw you on Google. And then it's hard to kind of parse out whether or not they actually saw you on Psychology Today. Because if you're on Psychology Today, if they Google something, Psychology Today is in the first result. So people don't realize they're on Psychology Today, so to speak. As far as your website, you wanna kind of track how many visitors you have on your website, what your bounce rate is. The popular pages, particularly if you have popular blogs, those are ones you might want to throw some money at on something like Facebook ads, and where people are coming from. If it shows you what people might have Googled when they found you, that's really good information. If they're good referrals, then you kind of lean more into whatever those search terms were. Psychology Today will send you some data, but I don't. And I've talked to Laura Long, who I think of as the Psychology Today brain person, she's super smart. But I would, we don't find the Psychology Today info all that useful unless it's like A/B testing different copy that you've written or different photos. If you're comparing yourself to yourself, then it might be good information over time. But in general, I know somebody in the Abundance Party was like, only 1 person out of 30 called. That's not necessarily a bad thing. We want to do our best to make sure that first line really speaks to your audience so that it's not like somebody dealing with something completely different doesn't call you because you're not a good fit once they fully read your profile. So I'm curious for you guys who are tracking things, what else are you guys tracking? If you will put it in the comments, I think it'd be really helpful for folks. I know there's more. This is the stuff off the top of my list. And if you've noticed this is data I'm tracking that doesn't really give me any good information, put that there too so that others might save themselves some time and energy. So yeah, I know some of you are like, data, oh my gosh, Jan, no thank you. If that's you, okay, that's okay. I find data really useful, but it doesn't mean it's the only way to do your practice. But for people like me who really love some data, it's like a warm blanket. So, okay, I'll talk to y'all later.